Hello, advanced social psychology students. My name is Mary DeZindelet, and I'm going to be the instructor for this course for the spring semester of 2025. The purpose of this short video, well, hopefully it'll be short, is to go over the syllabus with you so that you'll know what the course expectations are. Let me share the screen now with you so we can look at the syllabus together. Okay. So here we go. I've got the Word file here. You have a copy of this in your Blackboard course shell where you found this video. You'll also be able to find a link to the syllabus file. So the name of the course is Advanced Social Psychology. It is a required course for all students on the MSBS program. On the general psychology track. The course number and prefix is PSY for psychology 5583. The CRN number for this semester, spring of 2025, is 20199. This course will meet online, so you can do the activities around your schedule, which has some real advantages. I am retired from Cameron. I taught there since 1993 as a full-time person and chaired the department for a number of years. But now I retired as of May of 2024. And so this semester, I'm only teaching this course. So I don't really have an office per se, like any other adjunct faculty member. I have my office listed as the psychology department office, which is Nance Boyer 1023. However, if you want to meet with me, we're going to probably do that through Zoom. I am in Lawton some of the time, and so we might be able to schedule an appointment and we can find a place on campus to meet, but most of you will probably just meet with me through Zoom, and we don't have to be on Cameron's campus. The office telephone number here is actually to the psychology department office, so the best way to get in touch with me is to email me, and I will be checking my email just religiously, and I will get back with you probably within 24 hours, but definitely within 48 hours. Now, I do have this semester one little caveat to that I hope is not going to cause us too many problems. And that is that I am leaving the country on January 25th and won't return until February 9th. Now, I've been told I'm kind of excited about this, going on a riverboat cruise on the Amazon River in Peru to do bird watching. And I've been told that we'll have a really good Wi-Fi signal, and time zone wise, I'm just 1 hour ahead of Lawton. It's like I'm in Boston or New York. So we'll be on the same time zone more or less, or very similar. I am just a little concerned that I won't have access to the Wi-Fi as much as they tell me that I will. And so it could be during that 2-week time period, I'm a little bit slower getting back to you. But other than that, I'm really good at checking my email and getting back to students in a very timely manner. For this course, we are going to be using Blackboard a whole bunch, especially it's an online class. We're not meeting face-to-face. So you're going to go into Blackboard and you'll look at the Unit 1 materials, Unit 2 materials, Unit 3 materials. When you click on the Unit 1 materials, you'll see the modules. There's a module for each of the different topics that we're talking about. And I think it'll become very easy. The best way to approach this course is to go through those modules, and I have it set up very clear. Like this week, week 1, January 13th to January 19th, number 1, watch this video, which is what you're doing now. Read the syllabus, take the syllabus quiz, and then it'll tell you exactly what else I want you to do during week 1. And then if you go to week 2, it'll say, or module 2, it'll say, we're going to be doing this week 2. And then module 3, we're going to be doing week 3 and week 4. Do this by this and such date, this by this and such date. And so I think it's very well mapped out. for you. I think the only problem is going to be is if you don't read those instructions, you're like, yeah. Like I get like that in some of the online classes that I take. I'm like, oh, they're just reviewing what I'm supposed to do this week, and I skim that part, and it never ends well for me. And so don't do what I do. Really read that top piece. That's where all the due dates are going to be, and you'll get a lot of good information there. Okay, textbook materials. I think you're going to be excited about this. The textbook is free. Woohoo! It's all available online, and it's called Principles of Social Psychology. And so you'll, in the Unit 1 materials, toward the very bottom, it'll say this is the link to get to the textbook, and you'll be able to read the textbook. The textbook only has one edition, and so I don't think an early edition is going to be an issue. But if you find an early edition, I mean, maybe one exists that I don't know about, please use the up-to-date one. I mean, it's free, so it shouldn't matter. You are, to do this course, going to have a really good signal. You're going to be watching videos that last a while. You're going to be creating videos on Harmonize. You're going to be taking 3 exams. One has to be proctored either at Cameron University or using ProctorU or a Proctor site near where you live. But you're going to have to, but other than that, the other 2 exams are completely through Blackboard. It is going to be imperative that you have access to a good internet connection and access to a computer for this course. It will be very difficult to do the course on your phone. There's pieces that you'll be able to do on your phone. I think the videos that I've made, most of them, you don't actually need any of the visuals. Most of it, you just need to listen to. And so you could put that on your phone, put in your earbuds, and, while you're walking or while you're driving, well, not with the earbuds while you're driving, but while you're walking or exercising, you could listen to some of the lectures. So, but for the exams, for the harmonized videos, for that, you're going to have to, it'll work so much better on a laptop computer than on your phone. Okay, let's go through the required course assignments. There's 5 points for doing the syllabus quiz. Ideally, you'll watch this video where we're covering the syllabus. You'll read the syllabus. We're kind of reading it as we go through here. And then you'll take the syllabus quiz. It's worth 5 points. In an ideal world, I'd have it close at the end of week 1, which is January 19th. However, students can actually add this class up until, I believe, January 21st. It might even be January 22nd. So since you can add the class on, after the 19th, I don't want anyone who starts the class late to not have the opportunity to earn those 5 points. So you have until 11:59 p.m. on January 22nd to take the syllabus quiz. Okay. There'll be 3 exams, 2 unit exams that are each worth 100 points. They're multiple choice, and they will cover the lectures and the articles that we'll be reading and summarizing. Unit 2 must be proctored. Cameron University has a thing set up that for online classes, for identity purposes, at least 1 exam has to be proctored. So I've made it be exam number 2. However, you should know that exam 1 and exam 2, they're open book, open notebook, open article exams. So even though you'll come to Cameron's campus, you can bring with you any notes you want or anything like that. They're open book, open notebook, open everything. But the second one does need to be proctored. The final exam is also worth 100 points, but it's not multiple choice. It's 2 essays, in fact, and it's comprehensive. It will cover the entire semester. And basically what I'll do is I will give you 3 real world problems where you would apply the information that you've learned in the class to solve the problem. And you choose 2 of the 3 problems, and each one is worth 50 points. And you basically tell me, based on what you learned in class, based on what you've learned in the articles that we've read, from reading in the textbook, from the lectures, from the discussions that we've had through Harmonize, how you would address this particular problem. And you'll do that for one problem and then for a second problem. And each one gets graded separately, each worth 50 points for 100 points total. That comprehensive final exam, though, you only have 2 hours to do it. So I usually recommend students spend 1 hour on the first problem and 1 hour on the second problem. I've had students in the past spend almost 2 hours on one problem, and it's phenomenal. They get all 50 points, but they lose almost all the points in the second problem because they didn't have enough time. So like set a timer for yourself, and 1 hour for the first problem, 1 hour for the second problem, and done. Some students have given me feedback in the end of course evaluations that I find really helpful, saying that the comprehensive final seems so different than the rest that it made it more stressful because of the time constraints. I really am giving you those time constraints not to stress you out, but to make it where you're not going to spend forever on these, because these problems you could spend, if I gave you 40 hours, you could spend 40 hours to come up with a great answer to one of the problems. And so I want you to just spend an hour on it and get what you can from an hour. And so hopefully you won't find it super stressful, even knowing about it. Hopefully will, from the very beginning, will make it less stressful for you. So 2 exams that are completely multiple choice, 50 questions each. And then the comprehensive final 2 questions essay, 50 points for each, 100 total. Okay, now most weeks you're going to be asked to watch a lecture, and then you're going to be asked to either read one article, or there'll be 2 articles and you choose of the 2 which one you want to read. You'll read the article and you will write a summary of it. And this first week, January 13th to January 19th, you're actually going to be given an overview of the research methods, just to help you sort of, I shouldn't say remember, because this could be your very first class in the MSBS program. And you did not have to be a psychology major to be in this program. So we're going to give you, or I'm going to give you somewhat of an introduction to research methods. What's going to happen beginning next week is we're going to do an article, a practice article that's very short. And you're going to read it and then summarize it using a template that I gave you. And from that, you'll get an idea of how I want you to do these article summaries. So most weeks, you'll either get one article that you have to read, or there'll be 2 articles and you choose the one you want that you like the better of the 2, and you will read it and summarize it. In the end, you'll do that for 8 different weeks. Because of course, the 3 weeks that we're doing exams, you won't be doing that. And there's some other weeks where you won't have an article summary due. But most weeks, you'll be reading this article and then writing a summary for the article. So for each of those 8 article summaries that you'll submit, I will grade them, and there were 10 points each. So 80 points of the total points are for these article summaries. After you read the article, you'll go to the discussion board and you will write a question that popped into your mind as you were reading the article, or after you've read the article and you've thought about it, that you think would be worthy for us to discuss as a class. And so it could be something like, these authors found this to be true in the United States. That seems to be more, knowing that we have more of an individualistic culture. Would they find the same thing in more of a collectivistic culture? Or would they find it if they didn't use college students? Or what would happen if they tweak the experiment a little bit, and instead of using this method, use this method instead? Do you think that the results would be different? And if so, how? In what way? These are the kinds of discussion questions that I'm thinking you can come up with. You're going to type your discussion question and then a potential answer to it. And really the question is more important than the answer in the discussion board, and that's worth 5 points. And then the following week after, so you've spent a week reading the article, summarizing and writing a discussion question. Then the following week, we're going to discuss the article through Harmonize. So if we were meeting this class face-to-face, then the following week during the class time, we would spend, about 45 minutes as a class discussing the first article, and then maybe 45 minutes discussing the second article. And then there's also a lecture over the new material, something like that. Well, here, because we're not meeting face-to-face, you will be discussing it through Harmonize. So it won't be in real time, but we'll be able to post the videos to one another so that we'll be discussing it through the videos. So what will happen is each of you will lead one of the class discussion articles. And when you lead it, you actually will create about a 15-minute video that includes oftentimes a PowerPoint presentation that really gives us an overview of the article. And so you're kind of reminding everyone what the main points of the article are. And then you're going to pick some of the discussion questions that your classmates made that you thought would really spawn good discussion. And you're going to present those to everyone. And then hopefully someone will chime in and another person chimes in and chimes in. And you who's leading the discussion will lead the discussion as though it were in real time. So the week that you end up leading the discussion, you're going to be on Harmonize a lot that week. You're not just going to do your video and you're done. You're going to be, if someone kind of goes off track or, oh, I like that idea. What do you guys think about this? And it will evolve like a discussion would evolve. Now, when I designed this class, I was thinking that there'd be about 15 students in the class, and there are 15 articles. Remember, you're summarizing 8 of them, but there's 15 total. However, as of a couple days ago, there were already 24 enrolled in the class. And so we'll have to see exactly, if we get to 30, then for each article, 2 of you, you'll be doing it in pairs. If it stays around 24, then some of you will be leading the article alone. Some of you will be leading the article in pairs. But either way, as you lead the article, that's 100 points. So that's like an exam. So, but you're just doing it for one article. And, it's kind of a big deal. You're in charge of leading that discussion for that week. Okay. And so that's worth 100 points. Now, as each week, you'll be adding to the discussion for the article that you've read. And so you get 10 points, not for leading it, but for adding your piece to the discussion. And you don't need to have to say a whole bunch, but you do want to get on there. You've listened to what the lead person said. You may have listened to what a classmate posted after that. And then you might go, well, I see what you're saying, but what about this? And then people will respond to you, and there'll be one thread for that whole article. So it's as though we're discussing the article all together. And what you'll definitely want to do is you get 10 points for discussing it, but you'll want to make sure that you've listened to the whole discussion by the end of the week. Because that will be, you are responsible for that material on the exam. Okay. So we're sort of the article discussions are always the week after you've read the article, because you can't really be discussing it until you've read it and summarized it. So this week 1, I just want you to introduce yourself in Harmonize so that you kind of get used to using the Harmonize feature. It's really easy. I think it's it's as easy as Zoom. You'll also read the syllabus and do the syllabus quiz. Next week, January 21st to January 27th, you'll watch some videos that I did talking about research methods, and you will do a practice article. So there's a very short, like 3-page article that you're going to read. You're going to see what the template looks like. You're going to fill out the template, not to turn it in, but just to do it. And then you'll look at the key to see how well you did it. You're also going to go into the discussion board that January 21st to January 27th, and you're going to let your classmates know which article of the 15 articles do you want to lead. So this gives you and really the earlier you do that, the better you do, because it's first come, first serve. Remember, up to 2 people can do some of these articles, but after 2, then you can't. And so it would really behoove you to spend a lot of time this week, January 13th to January 19th, going through the course and looking at the articles, at least reading the abstracts and figuring out which article would be good for you. It also may have less to do with the article that you like and more to do with your work schedule, or you're traveling a certain week, because the week that you're leading that article is a week that you're going to want to be able to get access to the computer a lot, and you'll be spending more time on the course that week. So it may be that you end up choosing the article based on that's a good week for my schedule rather than the actual article. But you'll go into the discussion board and you'll let your classmates know which article you want to lead. And everyone should have decided that by January 27th. And then we go right into it. Week 3, we're all going to read the same article. And we're going to talk about social cognition, which is chapter 2 in the textbook. By February 3rd, the last day of the week, 11:59 p.m., you'll turn in the article summary and the discussion question. And then we'll discuss that article on week 4. So we'll discuss article number 1, which is social cognition. There's only one article. We're all reading the same article that week. And so we'll be discussing that article that week. Whoever leads that, might be one person, might be 2 people leading it together. We'll watch their videos and then we'll go from there with the discussion. And then while you're doing that, you're going to be reading an article that you choose that's over chapter 3 on the self. So there's 2 articles on the self. You pick one, the one that you like, you read and summarize that. So you're discussing the social cognition article as you're reading and summarizing the article on the self. Then during week 5, we'll be discussing the articles from the self as you're reading the article on attitudes, behaviors, and persuasion, and you'll be summarizing that and turning that in. Then during the following week, week 6, we'll be discussing the article from chapter 4, attitudes, behaviors, and persuasion, whichever one you chose, we'll be discussing. And there isn't an article that you'll read that's about helping and altruism. So you'll listen to the lecture on helping and altruism. You'll be discussing the article from chapter 4, but there isn't a new article to summarize. And then week 7, February 25th to March 3rd, you'll have your exam that will cover the material from chapters 1, 2, 3, 4, and 8. And then the articles, Article 1, Article 2, and Article 3 that we will have discussed. The exam will close on March 3rd at 11:59 p.m. Please do not wait till March 3rd to take the exam. If anything goes wrong with your computer, or if you get sick, or you get a flat tire, something goes wrong, then you end up missing the exam. The exam's worth 100 points. It's really hard to come back from. And then you're like, please, can I take it late? And really, you can't. You have the whole week to take it. So in order for you to be able to take it late, you'd have to be in the hospital like the whole week. And so I really strongly recommend that you not wait till the last minute to take the exam, that you take it earlier in the week. Then Unit 2 follows the same pattern. We begin with chapter 5, and there's 2 articles. You'll choose one, you'll read and summarize it. But then week 9, which actually involves spring break, so there's kind of 2 weeks there, you'll be discussing Article 4 that's over chapter 5, and you'll be reading one of 2 articles over chapter 6. And then we'll discuss those the following week during week 10. and so on and so on. Remember that the Unit 2 exam must be proctored. And so if you can come to Cameron and do it at Cameron's campus, that's free. If not, you'll have to do it through ProctorU, and I believe they charge money, or another approved site. And if you have questions about what is an approved site, you can always ask Cameron's Testing Center. You can contact them and they will let you know what's approved. Then after the Unit 2 exam, we'll go same format of Chapter 10. You'll choose one of 2 articles. You'll summarize it and turn it in. Then the following week, week 14, we'll be discussing the Chapter 10 article as you're reading and summarizing the Chapter 7 article. And then week 15, we'll be discussing the Chapter 7 article, and you'll be summarizing the Chapter 12 article, but we'll never end up discussing that article. And then the comprehensive exam will take place. And the comprehensive exam is May 6th to May 9th. As I said, it's not multiple choice, and you'll have 2 hours to take it. So once it opens, you'll have 2 hours to complete it. It opens on Monday, May 6th, I believe at 8 in the morning, and it will close on Friday at noon. So where the other exams close at 11:59, the final exam closes at noon on Friday, because that's when everything closes down. So, all right. And so you can see here the syllabus quiz is worth 5 points. You've got the Unit 1 exam, 100 points. The Unit 2 exam is 100 points. The comprehensive final exam is 100 points. You've got the article summaries, 10 points each. There's 8 of them. Discussion question, there's 7 of them. So there's one freebie in there that you don't have to do. Article discussions, there'll be 8 of these article discussions that we'll do, and you'll lead one for 100 points. So the total is 600. In order to get an A in the class, you have to have 537 or higher. So as far as attendance go, like you have the whole week to cover the material each time. The discussion questions and the harmonized videos cannot be submitted late, because it's like discussion, we're discussing it. So if you do it late, it's not really part of the class. Article summaries can be submitted late with a 5-point deduction for each day that it's late. Missed assignments, you should let me know like why it's missed. To take an exam early, you can absolutely do that. Just let me know and I'll have the exam open up early for you. It's not possible to take the exams late unless you have like you're in the hospital for the whole week, but I don't even see how that's possible. So because you have a whole week to do it. You can earn extra credit. In fact, you can earn up to 30 points of extra credit here. You can get extra credit by participating in research, by attending approved campus events, like for example, on Martin Luther King Day, which is on Monday. I believe it's Monday, January 21st. Let me just make sure that that's true. Nope, January 20th. On Monday, January 20th, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. We've got a speaker coming to campus that you can come and listen to her speak. I believe there'll be a Zoom option for that. And so you could watch her through Zoom. And I will post on Blackboard more information about when that the exact time for that and the Zoom link and the place where it is. So there'll be other campus events throughout the semester that I'll post on there. You can also summarize extra articles. So most of the weeks, there's 2 articles, you choose one. If you want, you can summarize both and get extra credit for one. You can also get extra credit for participating in the discussion of the article you didn't read. So most weeks in Harmonize, we're discussing, or a lot of the weeks we're discussing 2 articles. You only have to discuss the article that you read and summarized. But if you want extra credit, you can become part of the discussion of the other article also. So lots of ways to get extra credit here. Okay. If you don't participate for a whole bunch of the material so that it's like not possible for you to pass, then I can do an administrative withdrawal for you. I will always try to email you and say, I think you should withdraw from the class. Last day to do so is this day, but if I don't hear from you and you never contact me, then I have the right to do an AW, which would be better for you than flunking the class, would be the reason why I would do that. If the syllabus needs to change, I will certainly let you know. I'm not expecting to change it in any way, but there'd be announcements and other ways so that you know that. Of course, cell phone usage during class, computer usage during class, recording lectures with an online class, there's nothing really to say. Don't cheat, don't plagiarize. That's really, really bad. You can read how bad it is, what happens if you do it. Email, as I said before, please give me, I have 48 hours to get back to you, but most of the time I'll do it within 24 hours. It says here to include your name in the class that you're taking. This really is the only class I'm teaching this semester, so it's less important for this class than it is for some of the other ones. If you have any accommodations, then make sure you get that through Cameron's office of student development. I cannot give you like time and a half on an exam unless I get a letter or an email from the Office of Student Development telling me that you get that. So, and I follow that explicitly. If you need some accommodations, please do go and see them, give them a call, go and visit them, do the paperwork that they require, and get the accommodations that you should get. Speaking as a mom of two people who have ADHD, my kids got accommodations during college. My daughter in graduate school has accommodations. Please don't be hesitant to get those. I think it's important that you get the accommodations that you need so that you can succeed. The course description is here. I love this course, Advanced Social Psychology. So my area of psychology is social psychology, was my major area. When we get to the topic on groups, that was my dissertation, my research was mostly on groups. I love this stuff. Since I retired, this is the stuff I read for fun. I belong to a couple book clubs, and I'm reading some some fiction for fun too. But this is just what I love this. Trying to understand, to me, human behavior is endlessly interesting, and trying to understand it is what makes psychology so much fun. But social psychology, I think we win, because now you're trying to understand how we perceive other people, how other people perceive us, how we are within a social context. And it's really, really hard to even think of a time where I'm not in a social context. Even when I'm alone, I'm thinking about, oh, but I might say this to that person. How would they respond? And we get to cover so many interesting topics. We're going to talk about cognitive dissonance, persuasion. How do you get people? How are people convincing you to change your ideas? And how can you use that, back to get people to see it the way you see it? Prejudice and discrimination, huge topics. Interpersonal attraction. Why do we like some people more than others? Altruism, we don't spend that much time on altruism and aggression, but we spend a little bit of time on that. Obedience, conformity, how much other people influence you and you're not even aware of it. Group performance, that was my area. Group creativity was especially my area. How can we get groups to be more productive, to work together better? How can we make groups make better decisions? So these are the topics that we'll be talking about in the class. It's such a fun class. So, and we end up hitting on all three of the program outcomes. So for the MSBS General Psychology track, we have three program outcomes that students will be able to apply and analyze ethical principles in the behavioral sciences. We're definitely going to be doing that. Students will analyze and evaluate research principles in the behavioral sciences. Yes, you're going to get to know a lot about research. You're going to read 8 articles. You're going to be part of discussions or listening discussions of 15 different articles. what I'm lecturing, what's in the textbook is all very empirically research-based, because social psychology is the scientific study of how individuals think, feel, and behave in social situations. It's the bedrock of it is the scientific method, and you certainly will get good at this objective in this class. And we're going to apply, analyze theories, methods, and findings in the behavioral sciences, specifically social psychology. And you can see the course objectives are right there. So, and that is the syllabus. So I really love teaching this class. I've taught it before several times in an online format. I will say the class has changed a lot. This is the first time I'm teaching it. No, this is the second time I'm teaching it with this format, where we lecture and you're only reading 8 articles. So this used to be a capstone class for the MSBS general psychology students, when the MSBS counseling track students had practicum as their capstone, and the MSBS marriage and family track students had practicum of marriage and family as their last capstone class. But now the marriage and family track and the counseling track has their own master's degree, Master's of Arts in Mental Health. And so the only track that's on the MSBS program now is the general psychology track. So we don't have to be parallel to anyone else. And because of the way enrollment is, we probably are only going to offer this class once every year. And so we can't make it where you have to wait till your last semester or your second to last semester to take this class. Some of you might be taking it your very first semester. And so it's totally fine. So the class got redesigned. So in the olden days, they're not that old, but if you talk to someone who's taken it before, they may tell you, oh, each week we would read 5 different articles, and she never lectured. There wasn't a textbook. There were 5 articles, and we would read and summarize the 5 articles and then discuss them. And that's what we spent all the time reading those articles each week. And some articles, there were some weeks there'd only be 3 articles, some weeks there were 4, but most weeks there were 5 articles. So by the end of the semester, they had summarized so many articles, just tons and tons. And they had 1 midterm and 1 final. The final is very much like it is now. The midterm was 50 multiple choice questions, but now it's very different. So now you're only reading 8 articles, not a zillion. And you're just discussing 1 article 8 times. So for 8 of the weeks, you'll be discussing 1 article. So, but there are lectures now and a textbook that you'll be reading. So it's less intensive than it was prior, but you're still getting a great course where you're learning a whole bunch. And this is the first time that I'll be teaching the course in this format through that's online. So last time I taught it with the lectures and you only do 8 articles, it was face-to-face or flex. A lot of the students were through Zoom. So, but we have done these article discussions through Harmonize other semesters when that's all we did. No lectures, and it went fine. So I don't anticipate any differences this semester. The thing that's going to make it a little bit different is how many are there of you. So when I've done it before, it's been more like 10 or 15 students, not 24, and we may even have more. But I think it's going to be really fun and exciting. If you have any questions or comments, always email me, marydz@cameron.edu. I look forward to getting to know you this semester. Bye.